Our encouraging word for the day is found in James chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. There's a challenge for all of us that we have to understand that when we're vengeful, when we're filled with wrath, when we're angry, that what comes out of that, just on the carnal side of who we are, it never produces the righteousness of God. It becomes more of a self-centered, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to take care of this. They haven't seen how angry I can get. Those kind of phrases and that way of thinking will never result in the righteousness of God or what God would have wanted to see come from that. And so James gives us the instruction now. Here's how you keep from getting it to that place of wrath. He says, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. So he gives us a process there. And that's a beautiful thing. Swift to hear. Not many people good at that, is there?
No. In fact, we want everyone to hear us. Listen to me. But actually, the shoe's on the other foot. We're the ones supposed to be doing the listening. Because really, this reflects God. I am thankful he is slow to wrath. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, everybody who walks this earth would not be here right now. But as we spoke of in a podcast, he is patient. He's merciful. And he wants us to be patient and merciful and just.
Yep.
Hear what the other person has to say first. Be eager to do that. Be swift to do that. Be slow in a snap response. Some vocal response or accusation, whatever it might be, that's going to be an example of the tongue that he goes on and describes toward the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
That's going to do damage.
That's right.
Slow to wrath. Again, what happens with my uncontrolled anger? Nothing good. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, it fails to produce the righteousness of God. And God wants us to be like him, to reflect his character, because it's right, it's good, it's perfect. And so when something comes up, be quick to hear the other side of the story.
Yeah.
Don't get angry. Don't shoot from the lip in response. Show patience. Show compassion.
Yeah.
Show mercy in the situation.
Yeah, and you're a better person for it.
Yes.
And I think about it in two different situations. One is I'm swift to hear someone comes to me and says, the world's crashing in on me. And I say, well, what's going on? And then just let them talk. That I would be swift to hear and slow to speak. My job's not to fix everything you bring up. My job is just to kind of hear you out. And there's a great therapeutic process that takes place when we verbalize all the things that we think are going on. Many times when I say it out loud to someone else, I go, well, it's not a big a deal as I was making it in my mind. And so some of that, it just is self-repairing. And I can serve that role in someone when I can tell by the look on their face, they just need someone to talk to. The best thing I can be in that moment is a good listener, mm-hmm. not a problem solver, a good listener, slow to speak, and again, slow to wrath. And so for wrath, I see it more of, let's say someone accuses you of something that's just blatantly not true. Someone says, you always do this, and so, your ears perk up, and you go, well, hold on a second, so here we go. No, this is the moment too. Be swift to hear, slow to speak. I think it's harder in this scenario, but at the same time, we should do it. Ask this person who's accused you, why did you say that? What makes you say that? I didn't think that's who I was, and then be quiet. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to give these 9 reasons why you're the greatest person in the world. They think you always do whatever it is they accuse you of, at least in this moment. Let them vent that, and you listen. Because there's a chance here you might be able to improve who you are if someone's willing to tell you honestly, this is what you always do, and it is so frustrating. And now there's the challenge. When they begin to explain how awful you are in a particular thing, slow to wrath. Mm-hmm. My job here is to not get angry. Don't talk too much. Just hear I can still go home and process what they said, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have to respond to everything in the moment, because that typically doesn't go well and only inflames the situation.
In fact, you could tell them I can see that this has upset you, and I appreciate you being willing to bring it to my attention, and I will work on it and pray about it. So thanks for helping me.
And a soft answer turneth
yeah.
away wrath.
And that's gonna put the fire out
Absolutely.
in them,
Yeah.
because you've quenched that fire, like you said. That soft answer is going to turn away that wrath.
That's right.
Instead of responding angrily, you're complimenting them. That's going to cause them to settle down and think, well, I need to apologize because I came on a little too strong there. So you don't know what, and that's going to forge a deeper relationship between you and that person.
Yeah.
Now you're appreciating each other a little more.
That's right.
And that glorifies God.
It absolutely does. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think one other thing I would just mention in this, be swift to hear, slow to speak. We always talk about how God's consistent in the way he's made us and created us. And if you just look at the head and the face of an individual, everybody gets 2 ears and 1 tongue.
Yep.
Be swift to hear, slow to speak. So if I can do the math on that, I should listen twice as much as I'm talking. Just on how God made me. He gave me 1 tongue that gets me into plenty of trouble. He gave me 2 ears that get me in no trouble.
So if someone chews me out for 10 minutes, that means I get 5 minutes of just unhindered response to let them have it?
No, because the wrath
okay.
of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Although I like where you're going there. You got to keep the clock running so you know what the time is.
Right.
But obviously there's great failure in someone who cannot discipline themselves. And it is hard to do.
Yeah.
I am not trying to pull anyone's chain on this. This is a challenge, and it is a heavy charge from God.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Sit down, be quiet, and listen. And don't say much at all. Only the things that must be said. And like you said, Kurt, when you do that and you handle that the right way, you say to someone, well, I'm sorry I came off that way. Please help me with that. Try not to roll your eyes, because your body language shows that you don't mean what you're saying.
Inflection of your voice is going to say it all.
Yeah, you need to be settled when you say it. You need to be sincere and say, "Okay, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Help me with this. I don't want to be that person."
Yeah.
And as you said, they'll calm down instantly, and then something good can come from that, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's what God wants.
Yep. And not to be facetious about this, like I was a moment ago. This is, like you said, it's difficult. That's why God outlines it here for us. Point by point, here's what you need to be. Here's how you need to deal with this. Because it will make us and the other individual a better person if we handle it right.